Alright, today this is 5H Notes. We're going to be graphing polynomials without the use of a calculator. So, here's our steps we're going to follow. So first of all, we're going to graph the polynomial. F of x equals the opposite of x plus 1 quantity squared times x minus 2. Alright, look at our steps. These are the 4 steps that we're going to follow each time we go through one of these problems. So the first thing we want to do is use our intercepts. Now this is already in intercept form. So we want to look at and find the zeros. So we see that this is a double root at -1. So that's going to be a double root. All right, so that means our graph is going to bounce. So at -1, now at this point we don't know if it's going to bounce above or bounce below, but one of the other. We'll figure that out as we go. And then our other 0 is 2, 0. Okay? All right, let's also find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, you want to know when x is 0, what's y? So we'll plug in 0 in for all of our x's. So that's going to give us what? Opposite 1 times -2, so that's a positive 2. So our y-intercept is 0, 2. So 0, 2. So as if I find stuff, I'm graphing it. All right. Now let's determine the end behavior. For step 2, we're going to determine the end behavior. Well, look at this. This is a third degree. 1, 2, third degree. The lead coefficient, a, is -1. So that means our behavior, our end behavior, as x approaches negative infinity, y is going to approach positive infinity. And as x approaches positive infinity, y is going to approach negative infinity. So that means it's going to be going up on this side of the graph, okay, and down on this side of the graph. And we'll put some points in there to help us. But we know it's going to essentially look like this somehow. Okay, that's going to be our end behavior on this. All right, now we just got to plot points in between our intercepts, our x-intercepts. So let's start over here. Let's look at what's happening over here. How quick is this thing going to rise? So let's put in x equals -2. So we want to know what y is equal to. So we're plugging -2 in for all of my x's. All right, take a moment and do that math. And you should be getting positive 4. So at -2, positive 4. Okay. So that means when we go through this thing, remember there's a bounce at -1. It's going to bounce above. So we already know this. It's going to bounce here, come back up. All right, now we don't know if it's going to turn around or keep going up. So that means we need to plug in x is equal to 1. So let's plug in 1. For the opposite, 1 plus 1 is 2 squared. 1 minus 2 is -1. So that's going to be a positive 4. So 1, 4. So it's going to come up here, turn around, come back down. It's going to go straight through that point. All right, let's see how quickly it goes down, though. Let's put in 3. X equals 3. So y goes opposite. 3 plus 1 is 4 squared. And then that's times 1. So that's going to be -16. So it's dropping pretty straight down. We get to -16. Okay? All right, put arrows on the end. And there you go. There's still a sketch, because we're just sketching. We're not plotting all points, but it's a pretty accurate sketch. All right, so we're going to practice another one of these, and then we're going to go backwards and find the equation given the graph. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, here again, it's in intercept form. All right, so the first thing I want to do is find my zeros. What are my zeros? Well, I've got x equals 0, so that's 0, 0. -3, 0. And I've got a double root at 4, 0. So that's a double root. So we know we're going to be bouncing there. All right, let's put in our zeros. So I got 0, 0, -3, 0, and 4, 0 is a double root. I just don't know if it's going to bounce above or below. And that's what the rest of my calculations are going to find for me. All right, let's get y-intercept. So we're going to put 0 in for x. So y is equal to, well, you know it's going to be 0, 0, right? Because when you multiply by 0 here, you have 0, 0. So my y-intercept really doesn't help me here. My y-intercept is 0, 0. Okay. All right, in behavior, this has a degree of what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Degree 4. So I know my behavior is either up, up, or down, down. So A is positive. A is 1/4. So that means my in behavior is going to be up, up. So as x, f of x, as x approaches positive infinity, f of x is going up. And as x approaches negative infinity, f of x is still going up because this is an even degree. So I know here, so we're both going up on the end. So this bounce is going to be above. All right, because I know my end behavior is going to both go up. All right, now we just got to plot some points. All right, so let's plot some points. So I'm going to start over here at x equals -4. All right, so I'm going to plot, at -4, I'm going to plot -2, -1, and I'm going to plot probably 1, 2, and 3, and 5 to see what's happening here. All right, so I'm going to give myself some room to keep my graph up there. Let me get rid of all of this. So this one's going to have a few more points to plug and chug with. Okay, so let's start with x equals -4. Y is going to be 1/2 of 4 times -1 times -8 squared. All right, take a moment to do that math. Should be getting this should be in -4 here. Sorry, -4. When I plugged in the x, it would be -4. I need a positive 64. So this thing is shooting way up. So let's pretty much just go straight up from here because it's going to go way up before it hits the number. All right, let's do x equals -2. So y equals 1/4, -2, 1, and then -6 squared. Well, that's 36. 1/4 of 36 is 9. 9 times -2 is -18. So at -2, -18. This is the only unfun part of this. Plug it and chug it. All right, let's do x equals -1. The more points we put in, the better our graph's going to look. So that's going to be +2, -5 squared. That's going to give me, this gives me 2 on the bottom. This is 25 times negative, so -25 halves, or -12.5. So -1 is -12.5. All right, so this thing is going to drop down. So you hit that point, turn around, come back up to 0. All right, let's find out how it's going to go through 0. All right, let's plug in +1. So y is equal to 1/4 times 1 times 4 minus 3 squared. Well, those 4's divide out, leaving me with +9. And unfortunately, I didn't draw my graph big enough. So that 7, 8, 9 is about there. All right, let's do x equals 2. Y is equal to 1/4 times 2 times 5 times -2 squared. That's going to be my 4's, leaving me with 10. All right, so 2, 10. One more. Okay, 2 more points left. Let's do x equals 3. So y is equal to 1/4 times 3 times 8 times -1 squared. Well, that's a +1. 4 into 8. Oh, what did I do wrong? Hold on, let's do that one again. I did some values wrong in here and plug it in. Look at that one again. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. Okay. So y is equal to 1/4 times 3 times 6 times -1 squared. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to get 18/4, which is 4.5, 4.5. So at 3, we're 4.5. Alright, so it's coming around here, turning over, coming down. Remember, it's bouncing because it's a double root. Alright, let's see how much does it jump back up. Let's see, let's put in 5 and then we'll be done. Let's move it up a little bit, I'll move back down. X equals 5. So y equals 1/4 times 5 times 8 times 1 squared. 1/4 of 8 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So we're back up at 10. Okay, so it's bouncing up. There we go. So there's our polynomial. So sometimes you might have to plug in more points to get the better picture. The more points you plug in between your x-intercept, the better your picture is going to look. Alright, so that's the graphing part of it. The only thing you're going to have part of your homework, you're going to have to factor a couple of these first to put them in intercept form. But you definitely want to have these functions in intercept form when you go to factor them. Alright, the only other thing we're putting together today is going backwards. So if we have the function graphed, we want to get the equation of it. Notice I'm asking for it in standard form. We're going to put it in intercept form first, and then we're going to multiply that out, expand that out to put it in standard form. Okay, so what you need to find here is your zeros. Okay, so we're going to have y equals, we're going to look for an a. Alright, so we have x equals -3, so my factor is x plus 3. And this is a double root because it bounces, so at x minus 2 it's squared. So you want to put it in intercept form first. Now we're going to find a. You need some other point on your graph that's not a 0. Alright, so I'm going to use the 0, 2. So in the place of my y, I'm going to put 2, and in place of my x's, I'm going to put zeros. And I'm going to solve for a. So 2 is equal to a times 3 times -2 squared. So 2 is equal to, let's see, that's 4 times 3, that's 12a. So a is equal to 2/12, which is 1/6. So my equation in vertex form is, in intercept form, is y equals 1/6 times x plus 3 times x minus 2 squared. Now, you're asked to put this in standard form, so now we're just going to have to do the algebra to multiply this out. Alright, so let's do that. Alright, I'm going to expand this part of it first. So I got y is equal to 1/6 x plus 3 times x squared minus 4x plus 4. I'm going to multiply by the 1/6 at the very end because I have to carry around that fraction. Alright, so now don't forget you got that 1/6. Alright, I'm going to expand this. So I'm going to multiply x times each one of these terms and then 3 times each one of these terms. Alright, so what do I get? X to the third minus 4x squared plus 4x. I do the same thing with the 3. So I've got 3x squared minus 12x plus 12. So what do I get? I'm going to combine like terms. Don't forget you still have that 1/6 to contend with. Combine like term, I get x to the third minus x squared minus 8x plus 12. And then we're going to multiply everything up there by 1/6. Alright, so my final answer, because I want it in standard form, is 1/6 x to the third minus 1/6 x squared minus 8/6, which is 4/3 x, plus 2. And there's my final answer. Here again, make sure you have a y equals or f of x equals. Alright, if you have any questions, please make a note here, and I'll see you in class.